You're watching Good Evening San Diego.
Misty Hampton, a former election supervisor in Georgia, pleading not guilty to charges of election interference. Hampton is the 19th, and she is the final co-defendant in the case to enter a plea. So that means all 19 defendants have now pled not guilty. Hampton oversaw the Coffee County elections, and she is facing 7 counts in the election subversion case. She is accused of allowing Trump's supporters to unlawfully access voter data and ballot counting equipment. Joining us now to talk a little bit more about former President Donald Trump and his co-defendants, his criminal defense attorney, Vikas Bajaj. Great to see you again, Vic. Thanks for coming by.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Logan.
And the former Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, has been testifying. He's been trying to get it from state court to federal court. Let's talk just in general, maybe a little bit about what Mark Meadows was saying. And are these co-defendants going to start trying to save themselves and start pointing the fingers at maybe higher level defendants, including Trump himself?
Well, you just highlighted a very interesting component, mainly present in federal cases in comparison to state cases. In federal cases, we have what's called a race to the courthouse, and we've had that for decades and generations, which means the first defendant to go into the federal U.S. Attorney's Office and say, hey, I don't want to take a gamble, give me certainty, I'll give you the testimony you need to convict other people. Those people get a sweetheart deal. Now, are we at that point in time where there's a race to the courthouse? Absolutely. Many defense attorneys in this case undoubtedly have already contacted the U.S. Attorney's Office, whether it's a nudge at the arraignment or, in the state case with Georgia, nudge, let's not argue about bail. My client's probably more valuable to you on the outside. We'll give you what you want. Let's talk turkey. Of course, those conversations have happened. But what's happening now is we see Mark Meadows, who has testified in federal court last week in an effort to remove the Georgia state court case to federal court, arguing that under the Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution, he was merely an employee of a federal president following the president's orders. Therefore, it's a federal jurisdictional issue, not a state issue. But Logan, to your point, does that equate into these defendants rushing to the courthouse to make deals and point the finger at the head honcho in this indictment, number 1 on the indictment, President Donald Trump? Absolutely not. We haven't seen that evidence yet, and we can't make too much out of a procedural jurisdictional argument and equate that into testifying against the president.
If Mark Meadows is successful and it goes from state court in Georgia to federal court, would all of the cases against all the defendants be in federal court, and would that help the other defendants or hurt them?
Well, would all the cases go to federal court? To be determined. Would it help everyone? Yes. If this judge says that Mark Meadows was acting under the umbrella of the federal government, following federal rules and directives under the President of the United States, it will undoubtedly help all of the officials if they were federal officials. Now, let's not forget, in the state of Georgia, some local politicians and political actors and office holders through the Board of Elections and otherwise are state actors only, not following the guise or direction of a federal employee. So while that movement procedurally and potential defense could help some defendants, it won't help all.
Okay. I guess we'll have to see what happens, as they say, Vic, as we continue along here. I mean, we're all guessing that some of them are going to try to make some plea deals. Those lesser important defendants, if you can call it that, might just try to get out of this. All right. Great to see you. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you, Logan.
All right, Vikas Bajaj for us. Teresa?